Now that Jaws of Oblivion is out, one of the most requested deck art types that I have received has been Invade, and for good reason. It's kind of the hallmark of the new set. It's the new mechanic, and it's been kind of all over the place. And I have to be honest, gang, I don't think it's very good. And I've tried a lot of ways to build it. I've tried Tribunal, I've tried Guildsworn, I tried Daggerfall, I tried aggressive versions, I tried controlling versions, and ultimately what I have found, in my opinion, is that the best versions are actually combo, and I think that they're bad because they're just worse, excuse me, not worst, maybe they are the worst, I don't know, but worse versions of other decks that already exist. And what I mean by that is that, for example, the one that I'm going to play right now for this video is centered around this idea of making a really big gate and then trying to win with Forces of Destruction or a Siege Crawler. So in many ways, this deck plays very similar to either a Flesh Atronach OTK with Mentor's Ring, or kind of like a Conscription deck, but instead of using Tullius Conscription, we're using Forces of Destruction instead. The problem is that I'm convinced that Conscription decks are just better, and Atronach OTKs are also just better, because they require less setup for the payoff. But nonetheless, it's a new expansion, it's a new mechanic, so we're going to go play 2 games with this so that I can at least try to show you where the deck is going. I suspect this will likely be one of those videos where we go 0-2, because as I've said, this has not been a very successful round of testing, and I've put a fair amount of testing in. I wanted to come back and say, okay, gang, like, this is the deck that I think Invade works in, and I don't feel comfortable with any of the decks that I've tried out thus far. So I am still going to share the deck code in the video description in case you want to try to build off this, and by all means take your other shots. The other archetype I had the most success with, well, the other two. One was a very similar to this, but it was a combo-oriented Guildsworn. But it wasn't as consistent as this, but you do get the benefits of some of the willpower control tools. In many cases, I just felt like I was playing Guildsworn Control with a worse win condition. And for like more proactive ones, a Daggerfall one that I had was also pretty decent, because you get some of the better Daedra. You get like Sower of Revenge, and you can play like the Widow and kind of go proactive. And in many cases, that just felt like it was a worse off, how do I want to put this? It felt like it was a worse off Daggerfall mid-range deck that just also had Invade, but it was also less dependent on Invade. So I think that's the reason it was working out okay. But I haven't had a lot of success overall with the mechanic, because it's pretty easy to shut down. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And I think pass for now. So the purpose of this deck, normally I wait till much later to start my Invade train, if that makes any sort of sense at all. Interesting.
You will die at my hand, unbeliever.
Interesting.
Careful there, friend.
Let's do this, I guess. So normally I start doing this like much later. I try to make it so instead what happens is I try to set it up so I'm playing 2 or 3 Invade cards in a row, and then I'm using Brilliant Experiment to copy this. Because then what happens is once you get like roughly like level 4, level 5 gate, and you copy it in your hand, these cost 0, so then later you can play that one along with one of your, you know, better plays, and then get all the immediate value. So like that's typically the goal. You can also use Fear Totem to just bounce it back to your hand as well. The adepts are great for like kind of being an invade multiplier, if that makes any sort of sense, where once this is spitting out keywords, you can play this and it'll immediately invade multiple times.
You will know pain and suffering.
Oh, we found our meme crawler. Can get this kind of low, but not all the way there. This is only given +1/+1 right now. We're just low on invade tools, but I would feel really bad about using a fear totem to bounce only a level 2 gate. That might end up being our play. That might end up just being the play here. Theirs is already up to a level 3 and we don't have a good way to get in there.
I do not fear death.
I think we're gonna do this and then I might just bounce this to save it. I'm not a big fan of this play at all. I'm not a big fan of this play at all. But they do retain their level, so this kind of saves some activations. Our hand just isn't great right now. There's an awful lot of like card draw and cycle in this deck, and we aren't hitting any of it. No rapid shots. Running the 3/2 Daedra that if there's a wounded creature in the lane, then you draw a card. 3 mooses, which are potentially going to get us no value here soon. But we're kind of, I think, hoping to top deck an Ice Storm at this point. So I got a feeling they're going to take some trades and develop. And an Ice Storm would be wonderful. Oh, they're just hitting all of their invade stuff.
You will die at my hand.
I'm so envious.
I will have your head.
Alright, so we really want this Ice Storm here. That is not an Ice Storm. Okay. We can cycle here though. Or at least shut this down. And again, no like real chances for invade. We have a backup 1, so I guess we'll play 1 just to fight for the board because with no Ice Storm in hand, like we have to do something defensive, but again, not looking great right now. You know, it's that good old tricolor consistency, right? Like we're running 50 cards so that we can find our invade stuff a little more consistently. And I feel like they have invaded every turn. If not, it was like 1 turn that they skipped. But otherwise, has very much been them invading and us not so much. So we keep drawing all of our late game stuff. That's also kind of a feels bad. Gonna have to keep trying to fight for the board. Not the way we want to use these cards, but again, it kind of is what it is. A couple of turns away from being able to slap this down and then at least play forces. Might get us some value. The idea, again, with the Siege Crawler, in case you are not aware, is that if you get your gate to a certain point, then this will almost always get charge. The real kicker is like when you give this thing charge and drain, then you can run stuff over and kind of use it as either a finisher or a stabilizer, but drawing it this early is just unlucky. It's the Charmer special is the way that I guess I would word it.
I'll send them all into oblivion.
It is the Charmer special. And of course they invade again. Just non-stop. I mean, we can do this, but for what? 2 turns away from this. So I think we wait. I think we're just going to take some damage here. The worst case scenario is now we're going to find the Ice Storm.
I do not fear death.
And it's not going to be relevant at all. I mean, I guess we'll do this.
White Feral King. White Feral King.
And instead, so there are 3 cards that are expensive in this deck, and I have already found all 3 of them. This is, if there was ever, of course that got charged. If there was ever a Charmer special as far as decks go, this is it. Our opponent has invaded like almost every turn with their tricolor deck, and I have been basically drawing dead. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. I don't think we can survive here. Just at all. 3, 5. Maybe, I guess I could have played this. That was my mistake. I should have played this and then played this invade. Then this one would have been higher and I could have nuked this instead. But then I'm still dead. Does not matter what. So we're not even going to live to the forces because of this awful hand. Shocker. Absolutely horrendous hand that we got going on here. Well...
Watch yourself now.
I guess. And I guess. Yeah. So basically 3 dead cards here. No board sweepers. And our opponent invaded significantly more than we did.
White Feral
Despite
King.
being in the tricolors. So this is going to be a good time. Alright. We're going to go to game 2, but as I said at the start of this, I fully expect this to just be an 0-2 video because I have not found Invade to be good. And do not, I repeat, do not let what my opponent just did make you think that, well, maybe Invade is good, because all they did was they had a bad Invade deck beat another bad Invade deck. And also, we just got outdrawn hard. Trying to think. I think they only played the 1 willpower invade card. Everything else was still just blue-red, but they just drew better in the 75 cards. Interesting. Alright, now we're up against Spell Sword. This is maybe hand buff Spell Sword, which will also just be bad for us, because that deck is, I think, pretty legit. Or maybe it's just tokens.
Your orders.
Well, we're gonna at least try to fight for field lane here.
Unbeliever.
Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
I do not fear death.
Alright. So if they have like an ally, for example, they can still value trade here. Hey, shocker, I know. I'm so good at this game. And by good, I mean I'm really good at just figuring out exactly how things are going to go horribly wrong. Let's do this.
Devoured in shadow.
Let's cycle here. 2 keepers, why not? This is just like last game, but worse. Because our opponent's actually playing a real deck, so we're gonna get punished even harder than the person last game who played slow.
You can't defeat us.
Because we're still drawing basically all of our late game, right?
Great shall be your reward in paradise.
And I don't even have a good way to save this one, so this one will be gone. And oh, look, that's another. So I want to show the deck list off after this because I'm at this point like I'm just impressed at how bad I've drawn these 2 games. I can't even cycle this rapid shot.
Training is
effectively.
over. It's time to act.
Hold the line.
Because I'm going to have to use it. Oh, maybe I don't have to use it on that now. Oh, how I wouldn't love to stick one of these keepers, but again, they're supposed to be for much later. Yeah, we don't get to cycle it if we want to try to keep him alive. So we have to do it this way. But yeah, we're going to show the deck list off again after this because I need you to understand this is not an expensively curved deck. So the fact that I've had the 2 hands I've had for this video is kind of comical.
You will not pass.
Well, of course, now we draw the moose exactly on the second rune break, mind you. I mean, at least we maybe get to use it for defense. I mean, if I had a way to save this gate... How far away are we from forces? I don't know, maybe I do try. Keeper plus this makes this go up to 12. Trade here. At 12, they would still need 3 more damage to kill the gate. They likely kill him, but the gate survives. Maybe try to protect it with Wild Incarnate at that point. Yeah, okay. I think that this is the better path here.
Ha! You cannot stop the will of
I mean, maybe they just go aggro and ignore me. I mean, they have 12 damage on the board. They could do 15 with a Divine Fervor, and then what do I do? Nothing?
You can't defeat us.
But this at least gives me bodies to try to fight for control while getting the gate up there. 2 random keywords at this point. Wow, so many pet lions. What am I gonna have to deal with here? Trick question, the answer is all of them. Although this is a pretty decent top deck. Because that actually still lets me keep things alive here. And I gotta just keep that gate alive for 2 more turns, essentially. But again, like, without guards, I don't know. Pretty sure this is still over with. 5 random keywords. Like, if we can survive to pulling this off, then at least something's got to hit, like, charge and drain or whatever, but I just don't think we're going to get there is the problem. Because they're just going to... Well, maybe the adept... Alright, maybe we get there with this.
Wait.
This is going to be close. We're going to be essentially praying to RNGesus here, but we actually might have just caught a break by top decking the adept.
For a new world.
So we're going to take these value trades here.
For a new world.
We're going to go and do this because that's going to super trigger. And then this will at least get me drain. How did this not get charge? I'm supposed to get like 8 random key. Oh, I was gonna say it wasn't floating there for a minute. It just took a bit. I was like, how did this not get charge?
Watch yourself now.
We'll do this here.
Watch yourself.
And this here. We could have also played the Incarnate, but I think at 9 health against Spell Sword we're fine. If I was worried about charge, maybe something else. But now forces, will potentially get us there. And now you understand we're at a level 35 gate, by the way. I don't know what the record is, but I'd like to submit that level 35 is up there. We are a bit worried about lethal here. If they have like a Dawnbreaker.
Prepare to die.
Come, do my bidding.
Okay. We're still okay. As long as we're not dead, I think we survive.
Hold the line.
Because this forces is
How can I serve?
gonna get us a lot of value. Because it'll basically give us like 2-5 costs, or oh, that's what they were trying to figure out. They were 1 away. Wow. Okay. Actually, we can get ourselves kind of up there as well, because this is even more, right? So.
Face me, you dog!
So we'll do this, and then we'll just make a Markinaz. That's the only 10. And we will double hit. And try to push for lethal, I think, here.
Will spill.
What's our gate up to? Just 41. Just again submitting this for the posterity of the world record holders. Oh no! If this is a javelin, I've doomed myself. Oh no! I was trying to skip the last rune, and instead I've thrown the game. Ah, GG.
I will have your head.
I just didn't think they'd actually be running javelin in this. How funny. How funny. Even if I had gained the health, is that enough? Like, legitimately, would that have been enough? I'm not sure. Because with the javelin, they think they still have enough damage. Oh well. Like I said, 0-2. So I think maybe that sends it the most home, right? Like, yeah, obviously I misplayed there, but even when you get a level 42 gate, you can lose. If you're an idiot like me. Nonetheless. That's Invade. I also would like to, again, talking about those draws, just real quick. Like to highlight, though, that as far as curve goes, these are like the hyper expensive, right? So we have 12 cards here. And of the ones that we drew that were expensive, the one that probably mattered the most was Ice Storm, and across 2 games we saw 0 Ice Storms. So if that doesn't tell you how bad things were, I don't know what were. Brilliant Experiment is also, in my opinion, like really important for the deck. Like all the times that I've got things to work properly, it's been because of this card, and I saw 0 of those. But you can kind of see what it's trying to go for, at least. Whether or not that's good enough, I don't know. I'm telling you, I just have not had Invade working well for me. But this was the one that I had the most success with, but I just don't think it's very good. So anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may you walk on warm sands.